began to move forward at a walk. The jingle of harness and equipment carried faintly to the hill. "Canter," said Solethan. Another blast blared from the horn, and the line of riders accelerated. Now the sound of their hoofbeats on the hard, dry plain came more clearly. Some 500 meters ahead of the troop, a line of dummies and obstacles marked the position of their supposed enemy. At 300 meters, Solethan nodded to his trumpeter. "Charge," he said quietly. His manner was at odds with the heightened action and sound of the horsemen below. Bata! 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 The 3 elongated blasts set the line moving at full pace. The sound of hooves was now much louder, and the watchers could hear the battle cries of the riders in the centre of the line as they lowered their long, bamboo-shafted lances to the horizontal. The archers at either end, still leading their comrades by several meters, drew back on their short horsebows and released. The sound of the bows was lost in the thunder of charging horses, but the flight of arrows was visible as a dark cloud, soaring up and then arcing down towards the ranks of the enemy. Before it had landed, another volley was on its way, with a third following, as the second flight smashed into the still targets, sending dummies sprawling and scattering shields and weapons. As soon as they had released their third volley, the 2 outer lines of riders wheeled their horses away from the charge, circling behind the 70 riders, forming the middle of the line, and reining in some 30 meters back, ready to cover their retreat if necessary. The centre of the line smashed into the simulated enemy, bowling over the straw dummies, skewering them on the end of their lances, jabbing and stabbing as their horses came to a halt. Some lost their lances as they stabbed into the makeshift breastworks that had been set up. Instantly, they drew their long curved sabres and began hacking at the dummies, scattering the straw stuffing around them. As the riders reached a frenzy of motion and action, Solethan said firmly, "Withdraw. Bata, 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 bata." The abbreviated notes blared out in a persistent, strident rhythm that was impossible to ignore. Almost immediately, the plunging, stabbing cavalrymen wheeled their horses in place and set spurs to them. As one, the 70 riders withdrew from the combat and galloped back the way they had come. As they cleared the field, the 30 archers released another 2 volleys into the battered lines of the mock enemy. Then they too wheeled away, reforming on their comrades from either side. When the extended line reached its original starting point, Solethan glanced at his trumpeter. "Halt," he said, and the trumpeter nodded, raising his instrument once more. Bata, 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 bata. The series of rapid notes, on an insistent rising scale, echoed over the plain. In response, the riders slowed their galloping horses, bringing them to a halt and turning them in place so that the line faced back the way they had come. "Stand down," Solethan ordered, and a blue and white striped flag was displayed, waved back and forth, then brought rapidly down. The line of horsemen relaxed, leaning forward to pat their mounts, mouthing praise to them. The horses, excited and energized by the charge, tossed their heads and shook their manes. Then they gradually calmed down, with only the occasional stamp of a hoof to disturb their rigid line. General Aquilifer turned to Will, who'd been watching the demonstration. "Very impressive," he said. Will nodded. "I thought you might see it that way." He smiled at Maddie, who was astride Bumper, a few meters behind him. Will and Maddie were on a diplomatic mission for King Duncan of Araluen. Duncan, who had come to power as a battle commander, had shown a recent flair towards diplomacy and